Hello there, hope you're having a good day because today I'm going to go through five steps to build the perfect house for you in your survival world. These 5 steps, are going to cover like multiple things so you can customize your house however you want. Like this one I've done behind me, I used these 5 steps to create this one. And I'm going to build another one using my own 5 steps so you can follow along. Hope you enjoy this video. Hope this is a helpful video to you. If it is, make sure to let me know and tell me if you want more helpful tutorials like this one, and I'll be sure to make some. Let's get on with building a house using my own 5 steps. So to start with, I'm just starting with a solid oak box. You could use any block to start with. If you're in survival, I would recommend skipping a few steps so you get to the colour bits, but follow the same steps, just use the colour, and maybe skip this step because it's going to be trickier if you're in survival. But these are basically some base steps, and then you can evolve and evolve to make perfect houses. I don't know if you classify that house as perfect or not even good. I personally quite like it. We're going to see some more houses examples over there as well. And I'm going to build one right now, so I'm going to get my wooden axe because wooden axes are very important, especially in creative mode. And we're going to start by placing our wooden box. So I've got my wooden box here, and I'm just going to use this as my basis to work off of, like I have done in the steps. You don't have to create a wooden box first, you could go straight onto this step, because this isn't really a step, I haven't labelled it as a step. So we'll start with the wooden box. We're going to follow the steps. Step 1, which is shape. I labelled it shape because this is where we're going to add a bunch of different shapes to our build, which I'm going to do right now. I now have my shapes in place. Customize your shapes however you want. There's no point copying me because then, well, it's the same as what I've done, basically just copying. Do your shapes however you want. You could have like sphere things, circles, cylinders, that's the right shape I think, or cones, I think, triangle things, whatever you call them these days, blah blah blah. Rectangles, I know that one, at least I'm not that bad. And you'll end up with something like this. I've done just rectangles and triangle things. And then we can move on to our next step, which I have done over here, which is expanding on shapes depth. Step 2, depth. So this is by adding like, instead of using glass blocks to create depth, we use glass panes. It just adds like extra layer to it. Customizing blocks, basically adding fences in places, adding slabs, they make good depth, trapdoors, stairs especially. I've used quite a lot of stairs. I've used other details on the side here, fence gate details and little sticky out bits just in places. So I'm going to do that to my house over here, and hopefully that will make it look much better than what it does already. So there we have it. I've added some depth to my house. It's looking okay right now. We've got a chimney, I've added that. I've added some more windows, like I said, glass panes, stairs, window covers, flower pots, window. I haven't added any window sills, but you could add window sills as well. I've just added flower pots instead. These will be filled with flowers once we get onto it. See, this guy likes my house, so I hope you like it too. But it's looking a bit plain right now, so we're going to move on to step 3. All the way over here, which is colour. As you can see, this is much more colourful than that. In the example, I've used terracotta, stone brick, spruce, black stone, copper, calcite, granite, oak still. I've kept some oak. Oak is a good block. So there's tons of colours, dark oak, that you can add to it. Make your build look as colourful as possible, with some flowers even. And I think not all the cases, the more colours the better. You need to keep the colours controlled, not wacky colours. Glowstone, I'll show you why in a minute actually. But glowstone doesn't look good, so choose your colours carefully. I recommend using less textured colours if you're going to use them in larger amounts. We'll get granite was a bad example, so that's quite textured. So is blackstone. Terracotta more like. So if you're going to use large amounts, and we'll get onto texture in a minute. But like glowstone, pretty textured and ugly. Cobblestone, oak is okay. It depends on the textures really, how they look. An example of like highly textured decorative block, which I wouldn't use in large quantities for building a big house, is glazed terracotta. There we go, magenta glazed terracotta. Not the nicest of blocks, because it's kind of it's a weird kind of design. It's arrow design, so it's not a block that you'd use in a house like this. Instead, I think we're going to just stick with the stone brick. So colours are important, remember that. I'm going to edit my house over here to the appropriate colours it needs to be that I choose. Choose your colours however you want. We've got in the intro house, I've used spruce, birch. These two go quite well together, but that's the next step. Don't look at that, that's the next step. More, is that dark oak I think? Yeah, dark oak, terracotta, light blue terracotta. Make sure your colours go well nicely. Spruce, crimson, nether, brick. Just choose your colours carefully. Like that's kind of more like a creepy, eerie house, especially with the vines and the crimson. The colours are important. Remember that. Now I've redesigned the whole house and coloured it, gave it a lot more colour with the blocks. Don't ask where I got these from. I definitely didn't kill anything. So we have dark oak, spruce, granite, more spruce, blackstone, more dark oak. Yeah, I kind of went for a simple colour palette. I just used like spruces and granite. We've been using some barrels and dark oak, so that's kind of my colour scheme. Not very big, I know, but it's just a simple house. This tutorial is only for simple houses. You can get much more big and complex and big towery things, but that's not very complex, is it? Ignore that. So it's looking a bit, minus that bit there, it's looking a bit dull still. I know I've just coloured it, but we've only got one block here. I don't know really how it says, but it's kind of, here you can see it's kind of plain, not very interesting. There are some details with the dark oak and the flower bed, but it's kind of plain. That brings us on to our next step, which I believe is texture. Here, texture. So this is a much better example. I'll probably just use this example. I'll modify my house in a minute, but as you can see, I've textured all the stone brick and the calcite here with diorite from over here. Hang on. Anyway, I tried to undo it, but I failed. I was going to undo this so black stone brick, but as you see, I've kind of advanced from just solid colours. I haven't changed all the textures. I haven't added prismarine to the copper, which I sometimes do. So I haven't changed all the textures, just some of them, like the calcite and the diorite goes together. The stone, cobblestone and stone brick goes together. Bricks go with the terracotta. So we're just adding texture to it. So texture blocks, this is when texture blocks when useful, like cobblestone, but in smaller amounts. And blackstone, I've added some smooth blackstone, polished blackstone. So we're going to do that to our own house. Yes, I did mess up the house a bit with the spruce stairs. I'll fix that in a minute. Also, I did add some glazed terracotta to prove you can use it in small amounts, but just smaller amounts rather than big whole roofs like that one, which I made for an example. You saw me make for example. Don't use glazed terracotta for big whole roofs or even the body of the house. I fixed the stairs and I added some texture to some of it. You don't have to add texture to all of it, it's just to break up some of those solid colours. I think the planks are fine, we don't really need to texture that. I've got the barrels to just make it not completely spruce logs. Texturing the blackstone is quite nice, it just breaks up that solid blackstone cobbly look. I also did notice I did use some oak, I kind of forgot to change that. I was going to change that to something else. I just changed that to acacia. Now I can say that I've got more than just like 3 colours in there. I've also got some orange with the acacia. So we're up to here. It's looking much more improvement from that. So we've gone from that, we've gone through 4 steps and ended up with this nice little cottage house thingy. We've gone through all the steps. Hope so far the steps have been useful. I hope they've helped you make something that looks better than that. We can all admit that that kind of looks better than that, unless you just like your good old oak box for your houses, which is a fine. I do sometimes build an oak box for my house. But there is still one final step. This was 5 steps you may have noticed, and that is our finishing touches all the way over here with some greenery. I called it natural decoration and finishing touches because I've added so much greenery to this house. Got vines, the mossy cobblestone and mossy bricks kind of counts as greenery. So we've got azalea leaves like vines creeping down there. We've got bushes, we've got some tall azalea bushes. You just add a moss block to the normal azaleas and you get tall ones. That looks quite nice. Adding moss carpets looks quite nice. You either make it even taller by adding moss carpets on the top, or just add moss carpets to make like semi-tall, and it gives it a nice texture. So good tips with azaleas. Very nice tree. More leaves. I like my leaves. And I added a signpost thing. A tower cottage is a cottage with a tower. As my finishing touches, we've even got paths. Just adding those finishing touches all the way around. Vines. Bone meal, just bone mealing the ground. Adding some nice flowers. Really finishes the build, and it looks quite a lot nicer than your wooden box that we saw earlier. We've transformed that wooden box that we saw earlier into this. I'm probably going to just go and finish adding my final decorations to this little house over here. Admittedly not as good as that one. I prefer that one down there to this one. This one's a bit small. Adding some of those moss trees, and I'm going to get some bone meal. Shovel the dirt to make it path. With your path designs, make it like it's not a man-made straight path. It's been stomped, it's been trod on, so it's all crazy and all over the place. So that's a house in only 5 steps from wooden box into a nice fancy little cottage in only 5 steps. If you want to recap the steps, we went from this wooden box, adding shape to it, then adding depths and details to it, then adding colour to it. Ignore that, that's supposed to be stone brick. Then adding texture to that colour that we just added, then finishing it off with nice bushes. Hope this small video has been useful to you. Hope you've learnt something about building houses that maybe you didn't know before. Hopefully you can now build a house instead of a wooden box, but like I said earlier, a wooden box can sometimes do the trick. And hope it's helped you. Yeah, the interior still needs a bit of work. You might not want to make a house the size I made my house. Okay, you can't even bust that out. Okay, yeah, small interior. Put up with it. If you like these tutorials, let me know, and if you want to see more tutorials, let me know as well. And I hope you enjoyed the video where I made houses. Not the most exciting. I think I'm going to have more exciting video next time. A small project that I've been working on for a little bit as part of maybe a new series. If it gets enough likes, I'll do like a series where I build stuff in one world, kind of like a survival series but except in creative. I'm going to build a hotel for next episode, or next video, not really episode because it's not really series, so next video I'm going to build a hotel. Make sure to check that out, and I'll see you then. Hope this video has been useful to you, like I say, and bye bye.